Good morning. Welcome to another episode of our training videos. I'm Christopher Brandon with the Coeur d'Alene Public Library and the Cooperative Information Network.
And I'm George Williams. I am the Next Search Catalog Coordinator for Northeast Kansas Library System.
And today, this is our second episode in our second season of our training videos. And today we're going to be talking about overdues again, but this time we're going to be talking about a jQuery enhancement that George wrote many versions of Koha back to
long enough ago that I don't remember doing it.
To enhance the overdues to make them stand out a little bit better. And then we'll talk about some changes that have happened along the way and what I'm actually currently doing with it. George originally put out the code. I made some modifications later on, and I've made even more modifications since the last modifications I posted on the wiki. So let me go ahead and I'm going to just point things out, and then I'll shift it over to you to where you can talk about the original code.
Okay.
So as always, we're hosted by koha-US, and if you want to watch any of our previous videos, you can always find them on the Learn tab and go to watch koha-US original training videos. You'll find our episodes there. We're recording in advance, so the first episode of this season has not been posted on the website as of this recording, but you'll find our latest towards the top and the rest down below. And as I mentioned, we're talking about overdue enhancements. We're going to find that on the wiki. George had some code to move those overdue items towards the top of the page. And George, I'm going to stop my share and let you take over, and
okay,
you can talk about that.
Let's see. I want screen number 3. There we go. So this is the code that I originally wrote for Koha 3.16 in November of 2014, so 7 years ago almost. And the issue was, let me look up a borrower here. The issue was, I've got a patron here and I've purposefully checked some things out to him, and I backdated this one so it's overdue. And I've got another one that's due at the end of the month. But the issue was, when we first migrated to Koha at my old library, the old system we were on before Koha, if something was overdue, it would be at the top of the screen. And staff was kind of used to that. And so Koha didn't do that. You can imagine if you've got a borrower that in a busy public library, you might have a borrower that's got 50 things checked out. Yep. And so if the overdue items are all the way at the bottom, you get this note up here that says, "Attention, patron has overdue items." But if you've got to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page to get to those overdue items, that can be inconvenient, especially when you're used to seeing them at the top.
I'm sure that back in version 3 point whatever, Koha doesn't do as much as it does now. I mean, I can't remember if that overdue message was up there or if the date was in red at the time or not, but
I think 3.16 is where they moved all of the data into the data table, the Ajax data table that loads. It used to be that when you were checking things out in Koha, the complete page had to finish reloading after each time you scanned an item. And so if a patron had a lot of things borrowed, if it could take 10 seconds for that page to reload, and by moving this table into Ajax, so it's loading after the rest of the page loads, it sped up the checkout process. Yeah. And I think that's what happened in 2014. when I did this enhancement, was to make it so that the checkouts floated to the top, and it had to be done in a different way because of the data table issue. So anyway, this is what it looked like, you know, and if you can imagine, you know, the things that are the oldest, which are the most likely to be overdue, they're going to be at the bottom of the page. So what I wrote was this, and there are a couple of tricks that it has to do. Since this is being loaded by Ajax, it has to wait. This first part tells it when you see issues table, when you get to the part where it initiates the data table, that's where the function is actually going to start. And if any of the items in the table have a class of overdue, which is what this item is, the class of overdue is what changes the due date to red, then it's going to take that and it's going to add an attribute to it called overdue, OD. And then it's going to take that, and the first thing that's going to happen is it's going to add that. Well, let me save it and I'll show you I'll show you everything it does. Actually, I don't want to reload that. I want to do this. So the first thing it's doing is it's adding a class to this table, and it's adding an attribute, and it's plugging in this big pink banner at the top that says patrons have overdue items. It's been a long time since I wrote this, so it's hard to remember exactly what it's doing because this code has changed over time, but the code still works. And you can find it, like Christopher said, it's on the wiki still. Move overdue items to the top of the current checkouts table.
And we'll have links for that below and on our webpage.
So the first thing it does is if it, once it loads, if it finds that overdue class, it's adding this overdue table attribute to the whole table. And then when it finds that attribute, it's adding the banner at the top that says patron has overdue items. And then it's taking all of the rows that have that overdue class, and it's inserting them after this header that says patron has overdue items. So it's really simple. It's just doing a couple things. But that's going to push all of the overdue items to the top of the table where it's easier for staff to see them. And it was something simple that I did to solve a problem 7 years ago. So it's been around for a while. And not long after I wrote this and shared it on the wiki, Christopher rewrote it. So let me take my code out of here and stop sharing my screen. And I will let Christopher show you what the next iteration of this did.
So I technically did not rewrite it, but I enhanced it. I added some new functionality to it. So if you look at George's code, right below it is a newer one. It has more lines to it. So this was an enhancement of an enhancement. And this builds off of his code by highlighting the barcode in pink when there are overdues. It will also add functionality by removing the pink header and pink from the barcode. Let's see here. By removing the pink header and pink from the barcode and removing the overdue message when there are no longer overdues left. So it'll check because that table does get refreshed and updated without changing the page. So it is adding some more functionality to that. Just as a refresher, this is how it comes out of the box. This is George's enhancement. And I'm going to refresh this page. Okay, so major change here was the barcode window up at the top here. is now pink whenever there are overdues. Some things that might happen, and I cannot really, let's see here, I guess I can. I'm going to have to check this item in. If I check in this item, and so where's the check-in box? Oh, duh.
It's renew or check in.
Yeah, I don't usually check things in. So when you check that in, you know, all that overdue information goes away and it takes the pink away. So it rechecks the page if you do some changes on that page. On that code, I'm going to have to refresh my memory on this. So most of the information at the top. Well, no, I guess it's throughout here. So on this code, you know, we're looking, again, we're waiting for that table to load. And it is, on this one, I can't remember if, I don't think you checked the width of the table, but because the columns can now be adjusted to whatever you want to show, on the admin page, you can select what columns are showing in the table. I had it checking and it doesn't work perfectly because, let's see here, you've got 4 columns that weren't being highlighted here. I had, I think, just 1 or 2 that were not being highlighted. So there was still some quirkiness with it, but what I was doing was checking the width of the table and adjusting the column width of that header a little bit differently so that it would fill up that row more completely. So those 2 lines are the same. Down here, this is new functionality. So it's checking if overdues is visible. If it is, it's making that barcode pink. Otherwise, you know, if it is not visible, this is where it says, well, don't make it pink. Set overdue if show. So this is just the logic for, you know, checking if things are going to be shown in, with the rest of the modifications, whether it's going to be showing the header and anything else that's indicating that it's overdue. And if it is not, if it's set to, if this function is showing show, it'll show it. If it's showing hide, it will hide all that stuff. So it'll basically undo everything that you've done. And then there's one last bit here, checking the overdue. So this is where the logic is, where anytime the table's refreshed or changed, it's going to recheck the overdue status on that page and set that marker to hide or show. So there's the logic to where, you know, it sets this particular value to hide or show, and it'll check and do something based on that. So that's the nuts and bolts of it. And again, I'm sorry for how vague I am on some of this, because it's been forever since we've done this. I think it was 2020, yeah, beginning of 2020 when I posted that. Now there have been some changes since then, and I will put that in the wiki as well. And you know, anytime we add stuff, I cannot go back and say, oh, well, this is going to work with 3.16, which the original code did, or if, you know, it worked with version 19, which was when I posted the 19x. So this newer code, I can only say I know it works with 2005, and go from there. If other people have earlier versions, are welcome to update the wiki to say it's been confirmed to work with other versions. But for now, all I can say is this just works with our current version. It is now fully filling up that row.
Right.
And yeah, I've made it a little bit bigger. So yeah, I'm using the font awesome fonts with that, made that stand out a little bit bigger. It's not just a pink background, but it stands out a little differently. And I'm using a label. If it's finding the state, I'm using a label here. It is part of Bootstrap, I believe, but you can add a class label, and this particular color is labeled danger, and then I can tell it what I want it to have in that label, and I put it in there. So I add that right above that date, and it adds that. So it stands out pretty nicely. I think it looks well formatted. So that was the changes since February 2020 that I made, and I'll try to combine some of the stuff so that if you want something that looks exactly like this, I'll have that code exactly like that in a third enhancement underneath that. And again, we're on version 2005, so I don't know if this will work with any earlier versions, but this is incorporating some font awesome. It's fixing the span of the header so it fits exactly, and it's adding that Bootstrap label.
Yeah, I don't think this will work on 316.
Probably not. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think
316 was using Bootstrap at the time.
And I don't think it was. I don't think Font Awesome was available yet either. So, but honestly, if you're using 316, you should upgrade.
But you know, this is a good example of how you know, somebody writes some good code, some useful code, and then we just build off of it. You know, I wanted, you know, at some point I decided, you know what, I can make that header fit better. I can make it look a little bit different. You know, it doesn't just blend in with everything because, you know, I've got this pink background on the barcodes. I just wanted to dress it up a little bit more. And I've been using labels in various places on our website, and it just made sense to do this. And those labels actually stand out better. I use those for some statuses in various places. And so I like the look of those labels. This really makes it look professional and clean. So, you know, we're just building off of each other's ideas. This is always great. And if you have ideas and some enhancements to what we've done in any of our code, I encourage you to post them on there. You know, if you go into the wiki and you find something doesn't work, or you can make it look a little bit better or add some functionality, the best way to do it, I found, is to not change the original code, but to go in and post it right underneath it with your enhancements. And, you know, if you can, I would encourage you to always, you know, credit the original person that did the code, or the people that you built your code off of, just to make sure that people are getting the credit that's due. Like I did here when I enhanced George's code. But we encourage you to share the modifications that you make with anything that you find in the wiki.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyways, that is it for Overdues. George, you have anything to add?
No, I'm looking forward to using whatever you put up on the wiki that's an improvement over what I wrote.
So I'll be sure to have that when this video is posted. So yeah, so that's it for now, and that's it for another 2 weeks.
Yep, we'll see you in a couple weeks.